on with the show. Welcome everyone to Thursday for July 31st. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm your host for today. I'm an AI evangelist with weights and biases, and I cannot wait to tell you about the 17,000 things that happened since we were here last week. With me for now, Wolfram Ravenwolf. Wolfram, welcome.
Hello. What
How
a
you doing
stressful
today?
week, isn't it?
It
It's
was a
never been so
stressful
hard to
week.
keep up, I think.
It was a stressful morning. I had a tweet going out that's going like not super viral, but like a little bit. Just for the last hour, we're gonna cover all this, yeah. But just like while folks get in the last hour, folks, we got the new Qwen 3 Coder Lite or Flash or whatever they call it, like a new version of the Qwen 3 Coder we talked to you about last week. But like with the 3 billion active parameters, super quick. We got a new model collaboration from FLUX and our friends at Krea AI. They released a co-joined model that doesn't look like AI models. We got a new multimodal MOE from StepFun, which we knew it was coming or we're waiting for. And we got a new Commander V from Cohere, which is just in the last hour. Those are all of those releases in the last hour. Now, you know what we didn't get? We didn't get GPT-5.
Or the open source one.
Yeah, or the open source one. Although rumors are it's on the horizon, But yes, we haven't gotten the open source one. It looks like we're gonna wait a little bit more. But you never know. Sometimes they announce breaking news exactly like right now, and they say, "Hey, in 1 hour we're gonna have a live stream." But all of this happened in the last hour. This on top of the crazy news stream that we kept having after we finished off the show with Qwen Thinking and then Qwen Thinking Small. Both of them were upgraded. GLM was released from Jipu AI, GLM 4.5, I believe. Just like a crazy stream of news, man. I can't wait to cover all of this. Though I will say, when this amount of news happens, it's really hard to go in depth and cover all of it, but we're going to try. We're going to give it our best. Wolfram, what stood out for you this week? And also, before Wolfram answers, just folks in the chat, we have quite a few folks in different chats around. Feel free to drop while we kind of do this banter back and forth in the beginning before we kind of get started with the TLDR. Please feel free to tell us what you guys thought was the coolest thing that released in AI this week. That's very, very helpful. Sometimes we find out ourselves. Wolfram, what was the thing that stood out to you this week?
So actually the small Qwen model, when we were having our discussion last time. And so I asked Hunyuan if they would make a smaller model, and it sounded like they were only focused on the big one. So it was, to me, a great surprise.
He did say we're focused on the big ones right now, Hunyuan. And
then
that lasted for 2 days.
I was a little sad. And now, the gifts keep coming, yeah. And you can run it locally. It runs super fast. It's super smart. And in my tests, it was amazing for a local model. And so that has the most immediate benefit,
Wolfram,
I think.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's 3 of them. So which one are you talking about? Does the reasoning one, the thinking 2507, the non-thinking 2507, and today there was the Qwen 3 Coder Small. Which of the 3 are you excited about?
Yeah, the coder I just heard about before the show started, basically. So I thought, here, breaking news. Yeah. And you already had it covered. But I ran the non-thinking one. I still have to test the thinking one. And I think it will be even better, of course. So I'm excited about all 3. Yeah. All 3 of them. Qwen and the big ones as well, because I use also via API, via the weights and biases API, for example. Yeah. So those are amazing. And I will post some benchmark results later that are basically the best local or open model ever.
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
Sneak peek.
Welcoming to the stage, Jan Pelleg. Jan, welcome. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, how are you doing? How's your week?
Stressful. Keeping up with all of this is stressful. It's fun. We also expected some big drop from OpenAI. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen today, which is all right. Like all we need is Google to like hint at something. Like, hey, Gemini 3 is going to come out, and OpenAI will immediately release something. Having said that, Jan, what is the thing that stood out to you this week? Just whatever comes to mind. The first one.
Look, Qwen is a thing. Like we had a discussion here last week, and immediately the day after, we got a better one. I mean, my question is, what's the limit, you know? You see smaller models you can run at your home, like breaking records all the time.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, okay, it can't go forever. Like there is a physical limit to this at the end. But I don't know, man. We keep seeing better and better model you can run at your home. It's pretty crazy. Pretty
It's
crazy. I
crazy.
mean, Qwen absolutely is leading. I mean, I agree with everything. It's probably the best, unless you're looking into a niche thing, it's probably the best thing you can run locally, without a doubt. And it doesn't seem like they got into any wall. It doesn't seem like they're stopping. They just keep releasing better and better models, even day after day. I mean, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
I think I counted 6 total releases from Qwen for the past 2 weeks. I think 2 non-reasoning models updated 2507, then 2 reasoning models also updated 2507, and then 2 coder models. And I think that Qwen kind of like realized that if you stagger the releases one after another, then you can get way more exposure. Because I remember Qwen dropping all of that at once. You guys remember like a mega blog post like, hey, we're announcing 6 new models, blah, blah, blah. It was really hard to like use them and try and figure out the differences and compare. And then they kind of did the hybrid thing. So yeah, so today we're going to cover 3 new Qwen releases. But also, Qwen is not the only Chinese company that drops heat. We have GLM from I'm getting a blank, but GLM. We have Jipu? Yeah, Jipu, yeah. They rename, folks. When it's already hard to follow all the Chinese labs that release SOTA models, it's really hard when they rebrand, and you have to keep up with the new branding as well. But yeah, Jipu, released GLM. We also have StepFun released Step 2, which is a new multimodal state-of-the-art, and we have Cohere. So I think it's time for us to do like a super quick TLDR, because we're gonna have to talk about open source for a lot. And so let's just get into it. I'm gonna get my trusty notes here super quick so that you guys will be able to follow along with me, those of you who are watching, and those of you who are not watching, why not? We are live on YouTube, X, and even LinkedIn. We have like 3 folks in there. Hi, LinkedIn folks. Hey, LinkedIn crowd. Thank you for your patronage. We love you guys. Alrighty, let's do the TLDR super quick. And let me just share my screen so I will know and you will see. And where's my transition? Let's go. Alrighty, this is it. This is the TLDR section of Thursday for July 31st, the last day of July. We're way over like half the first half of the year, and we have a lot of open source news today to share with you guys. Just a lot. We're gonna run through them super quick so you know, and then you'll be able to follow everything and choose the models that you want to try. First of all, I think we started that week immediately after Thursday last week with Qwen releasing the Qwen 3 thinking model, and we really work hard to actually put it up as well on the weights and biases Inference. So 2 news there for you. But then also we continue to having a great week because I think on Monday, Jipu or Z.ai, they rebranded from Thadum, I believe, dropped GLM 4.5. It's a 355 billion parameter model, unified reasoning coding agentic capabilities. It's very interesting to see kind of the comparison to Qwen. It beats Qwen on some stuff. It loses to Qwen on some other stuff, but it's it's a great model to run also. So fairly excited about that. We also saw our friends from RC announce both a funding round and a release of 2 big models, AFM 4.5 billion parameters and AFM and the base version of that. Shout out to Lucas and the RC folks. We had them on the show a couple times. Great to see them working their magic for enterprise small models and custom specific models. 4.5B is very interesting middle ground in models. But then, of course, I think the highlights of this week was the continued stream of releases of Qwen models. As I said in the beginning, Qwen is on fire. So since we chatted with Junyang on the show last week about the Qwen models, we saw Qwen 3 Thinking 2507, Qwen 3 Thinking Small. So they don't call it small, but it's like the 30B A3B. So 30 billion parameter with 3 billion active parameter. And then we got just as a breaking news today, which I'm gonna actually do. Never done breaking news in the middle of TLDR, but here it is. AI breaking news coming at you only on Thursday. Haha, breaking news in the middle of TLDR. Who knew that's possible? Qwen today released the updated Qwen 3 Coder Flash, which is a tiny Flash model that comes very, very close to their bigger one. But it's, I think, around 3 billion parameters, and it can run on your device with like almost 80 tokens per second on the M4. It's really, really something. Qwen Coder Flash has terminal bench of 31.3 compared to the main Qwen Coder at 37. It has 51.6 on Subagents verified. A tiny, tiny model. Has like 3 billion parameters active. It's quite something. In addition to this, we also have some breaking news from Cohere as they release Command A Vision. Did you guys remember we talked about Command A or Commanda, as some of them call it? And Cohere, we had Sandra from Cohere on the show a couple times. So shout out to the team at Cohere, absolutely ripping this. We need representation from the West as much as from the East. And Cohere launches a state-of-the-art multimodal AI for enterprises. It's both on their platform, but also it runs very well. I think open source, but the license is not necessarily there for you. And they get, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this on the show, but I don't like average score of benchmarks because we don't know how they average them out. But anyway, Command A Vision is there for you. I think that's mostly on open source, unless folks who just came in, like Nistan, LDJ, and also Wolfram and Yam, unless I missed any big news in open source, I think that's mostly it.
Yeah, when you say Qwen 3 Coder Flash, is that the same as Qwen 3 30B A3B coder?
Yes, I just called it Flash because
okay.
I need names. Folks, we're still in the TLDR, but like one of the main feedbacks we have for Qwen is like, give us names. It's really, really hard to compare all these things. 2507 is not a differentiator. Go ahead, listen.
There's one more, and this one was a different architecture from StepFun. It's called Step 3. I think they just announced that today or yesterday.
Yeah, Step 3 is absolutely here.
Okay, all right.
Step 3 is... Do I not have Step 3? What? Yeah, that's definitely another... Yeah, Nistan, thank you. StepFun released Step 3 multimodal.
And there was a 3D autoregressive one, which could make Ghibli images. And it was the same architecture. It was an autoregressive architecture. I forgot which one that is from. Yeah, this week's been packed, guys. This week has been...
I think StepFun is breaking news also from literally like an hour before the show, but I don't have notes here, but we'll definitely have to talk about StepFun because this is like a new state-of-the-art multimodal. And compared to Command A, we'll do a quick comparison of stats between them. This is was that Step 3? Yeah, StepFun has been like around for a while. We even covered some of their models. We'll definitely cover that. Okay, we're gonna move on, but we'll definitely.
I have one more, maybe. Yeah. Isn't there also the new Llama Nemotron Super 49B version 1.5? What a name!
From NVIDIA.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think it was released in the last week after our last episode.
I think so. We haven't covered this. Send me a link, but I haven't seen any chatter about this one or like tons of excitement, even though we did have.
I briefly tried them. They seem great in benchmarks. I tried to put one in prod because I could say it's from NVIDIA. It wasn't a very, I don't know, good user-facing model.
All right, we'll get there, folks. We're still in the TLDR. Yeah, we'll get there. I know folks appreciate a brief TLDR, but we tend to go off. But it's fine. In the big companies and the APIs and LLMs, the main thing that we all were looking forward to did not materialize. Of course, this was either GPT-5 from OpenAI or the open source model, although rumors are it's on the Horizon Alpha. But we did get a vision for personalized super intelligence from the Zuck. Literally, if you go to meta.com/superintelligence now, you have a very Nat Friedman very simple textual blog post about Zuck giving all of us personal super intelligence, which we have to cover. Notebook LM from Google added video overviews. It's pretty cool. Although I expected something entirely different from video overviews. When you say video from a company that does VO3, one wonders why the hell aren't there two physical... Never mind, it's TLDR. We'll get there. We also have Microsoft Edge, which is their browser, not a model, introduced Copilot mode. So Microsoft Edge now builds into agentic browser. As we talked to you before, after Comet from Perplexity, and after Dia from the browser company, and after like tons of like new browsers and the rumored ChatGPT browser at some point, we told you that Chrome is going to get there. It looks like Microsoft is innovating there first. There's nothing like firing the fire of innovation under Google, like Microsoft outbeating them in different things like browsers. So it's going to be very interesting. We also have OpenAI introduced ChatGPT study mode just in time for the new year for students. That's great. I've tested that out. And we have a very secret model called Horizon Alpha on OpenRouter that's being tested. That if that's GPT-5, I'm going to be very disappointed because I've asked it some questions. But if that's the OpenAI open source model, I'm not going to be disappointed. It's pretty cool. In this week's Buzz, the category where we update you on everything that happens in Weights and Biases. And recently, we update you which models we put on our WB Inference and give you a chance to win like $20 in Inference as well. There is a friend of the pod, some of the listeners, Olaf, posted how you can... like a literal tutorial of how you can take our inference with the free credits that we give you and shove it into Cloud Code very simply. So shout out to Olaf for this. And we're gonna set it up and show you on the shows like super quick. It's gonna take less than like 3 minutes, I think. So that's gonna be great. So yeah. So again, if you want to run Cloud Code with inference from Weights and Biases for free using Qwen coder models, stick around for this week's Buzz. We're gonna show you how to do this. It's gonna be super quick. In vision and video, there's also a bunch of models this week. We have a state-of-the-art video generation model from Alibaba Qwen. So this is kind of confusing, okay? Alibaba is the big company. There's different labs in there. So Togi or something, that's kind of the lab that works on the video stuff. And Qwen is the lab that works on the LLMs. So Togi releases WAN 2.2, which is an open source MOE video generation model. And I think it's state of the art for video for open source. It's quite impressive, although generations kind of look like slow-mo there. And also, I don't know if you guys have seen, but the Runway Gen 3 Aleph model that was previewed by Runway is just like absolutely incredible for video editing. It's kind of like FLUX Context or ChatGPT for images where you can like chat with the video model. It's kind of like that. You can ask it for stuff like we're going to show this. I don't have access, but we're going to show you examples. Huge week in AI art and diffusion in 3D. Huge week in there. We often kind of don't even cover this on the show. We skip this this segment. And here we have our friends from Krea AI that we've mentioned their product multiple times and actually mentioned Krea 1, the non-AI looking AI model for generating images. They have collaborated with our favorite diffusion lab, Black Forest Labs, and now they together released FLUX Krea, which is a state-of-the-art open weights image model that beats like significant other models, but doesn't look like AI. So we're gonna chat and see what that means. Also, folks, that in the AI art and diffusion, Ideogram launches characters. With one image, you can get personalized image generation, and that's for free. You can try it out now. That really look good. And then also Wolfram sent me this morning. I skip some things sometimes. Tencent Hunyuan3D released a world model. We know Hunyuan from the video, HY video. We know them like that. Tencent does a bunch of stuff. The world model gets a 3D world generator as the first open source ones. We've seen a few of those. You even kind of like move around in there. This is the first open source one that looks great. And then in the tool section, I really want to get to the tool section because Nistan went supernova viral with a post. Nistan, could you tell us like one-line highlight for this charm bracelet thing that you went viral with? And then we're going to cover this in the tool section.
I expected that to get like 12 likes and 200 views, just the usual. To me ranting about something. and it just completely blew up, 500,000. I fired up. I mean, someone had a whole bunch of unused AWS credits, so I just fired up a full node, and I started just using it by myself, and just trying to push as many tokens as possible through Qwen and through Crush, which is made by the same people that started Open Code. There was a break off there, and there's some drama which I don't really know much about, but it is almost the same thing as far as people are concerned. I get along with both, so it's all good. I don't care, but the tool is great. The tool is fantastic.
So the tool is Crush from Charm Bracelet. Is that the highlight there?
And it's built off of the same. It's like a branch off from Open Code. So they're both very fast. They're built in Go. Open Code works very well too.
Those are clones of Cloud Code, just in open source, right?
Yeah, I would say they're just even better now as far as like aesthetics go and usage go, and they don't crash.
Nice.
But it was just going at such a rapid pace that normally I have agentic workflows that run for 4 or 5 hours, and it was just doing them too fast. So I was pushing about like 39 to 40 something, almost 50 million tokens every hour while using it. And I posted this.
Million tokens per hour. All right, Nisa, we'll get there. I would love for you
anyway,
to show us Crush.
It was it's good. I'll post some more videos later when it's not so haphazard and actually show people how to set it up with the new model. But anyway, it's all good. The post blew up. People are just very mad at Anthropic for nerfing Claude.
So this is the second thing in our tools coverage. Anthropic did nerf at least the free tier of Claude code, and we should mention this. The industry was not happy, and there's rumors that some folks got to I think I don't know, like $500,000 worth of like Claude credits if they went on with the unlimited ones. I don't know how true that screenshot is, but definitely saw it. All right, folks, this is the TLDR. If I missed anything, please let me know. Folks on stage, please let me know. And also, folks who are listening, tuning in to us on Twitter Spaces and on YouTube and on everywhere, please let us know what we've missed because this has been a week. LDJ, go ahead.
Did we cover the Zenith and Summit and those El Marina models? Did those exist last week? I mean,
I wanted to. So Zenith, we don't know what they are, right? But yes.
Yeah, a lot of people suspect they're like GPT-5 or different sizes of GPT-5. Yeah, we could just say like Zenith and Summit, and then I could remember everything else from there. Yeah.
So El Marina tested in their kind of battlefield, like 3 or 4 models, and people started speculating that those are like GPT-5s. They're like just different like levels of GPT-5s. Those, right? Let's cover those. LDJ, if you can gather up the info by the time we get there, I think we'll cover this.
Yeah, sure.
The companies and APIs. So we'll definitely cover this. I think I saw this in some of the groups on X. All right, folks, this has been the TLDR. Let's dive into open source because a lot of work to do to cover all of this. Let's dive into open source. Open source AI, let's get it started. Let's get it started, folks, with open source AI. So I think the number one thing, should we share chronologically or cover chronologically, or should we just go for the biggest pieces last, and then we'll start with the smaller one? I didn't ask you guys, listen, LDJ, when you came in, I didn't ask you what was the main event for you this whole week. There's like a lot of stuff.
I guess I'll go. The most interesting thing for me was seeing the models on El Marina and people's reactions to it, and just its ability to do some of the out of distribution things, like people have the SVG test or make a pelican riding a bicycle. It was doing interesting things in that, but even just vibe coding stuff, and people were seeing it in Web Dev Arena, which is like a branch of El Marina now. Well, not like when I say branch in this context, I just mean metaphorically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really interesting, and it's like making things one shot that seems like I would usually need Claude to go back and forth with me for hours sometimes, and apparently it's doing one shot with this model. So yeah, it's really interesting.
So we'll get there at the big companies, but definitely there've been some tests lately in the Elm arena. They're very, very interesting. Nistan, highlight of yours, and then we're dropping into open source.
Yeah, I was looking for a speculative decoding model for the big Qwen model, and it just like came up on the screen as I was looking for it. That's one highlight, just-in-time development, and that's what I'm calling it. And the other one was I was trying to make open code work first with Subagents in Qwen. I got open code working first with Qwen, and then I see the other tool just comes up like as you need it. So we're getting to this point where things just come up as you need them, and it's pretty funny. It feels very much like a giant hive mind, and we're just buzzing around.
I think the algorithm also on X started to be a little bit better in what you want.
Yeah, a little bit too good. I didn't want that
much
attention. Yeah.
A little bit too good. Although a little bit too eager. Sometimes you would like something, and then like the next 5 posts are the same exact thing. Or maybe I'm thinking about Instagram. Alrighty, folks. I think we will cover GLM. I think Wolfram, you asked President Lin what's his favorite release of this week. President Lin, shout out one of the open regular Thursday folks who has great coverage threads of everything that happens, and I definitely use those for preparing for the show. And we'll start with GLM. This is also like one of the earlier releases. We'll get to Qwen and we'll cover all the 3 Qwen models, but let's talk about GLM. So ZAI, or I guess Jipu AI, they have released GLM 4.5, and let's take a look at that model. Let me share this entire screen of mine, screen 2, and then I will bring my notes here as well. So Jipu drops GLM 4.5. It's a 355 billion parameter model. It's an MOE model with 32 billion active parameters, unified reasoning, coding, and agentic capabilities. It's very interesting that they released this, I think, just a little bit after Qwen Thinking or before, like very close to the Qwen Thinking one. Size-wise is kind of the same. And I have thoughts about this model, and folks know me for maybe positive thoughts almost all the time. I have some critique, let's say, for not even the model, which I tried and looks decent, but like I don't have enough to tell you about like the vibes. I have some critique about the release, but I wanted to hear first excited takes about GLM 4.5. Who here tested, tried it, wants to cover? Raise your hands, or just feel free to go. Go ahead, Nissan.
I've always been that kid in class.
Yeah.
So just for people, before the first model that ever had 1 million context, the first open source model, was from this same team, and they used to be called THUDM, THUDM, and they had they had a 9B model, and we were running that on GitHub GG to do reviews, and that was one of the first ones you could use 1 million context for, the first million context open source. So this team has been cracked for a while and has been sleeping, and now they just rebranded to ZAI. And the other thing, that their GLM 32B was one of the smartest ones for math type questions or astronomy type questions. He was getting those right. It was the smallest model that was solving problems that I had. So I was pretty excited for this release. I didn't find it to be as good as the benchmarks. But look, it's an excellent model, but as a daily driver, that's still Qwen for me. It's probably also the support right away on transformers just wasn't there. But I don't know, like with Qwen, the benchmarks pretty much reflect what it was. With this one, my vibe check is it's not quite there. We need to do some more testing. So I wouldn't daily drive this for coding and stuff, but I was certainly happy to do reviews or other non-coding things. So that's my take.
Yeah, that's a great take. I think that our vibes are aligning together with the vibes kind of on the threads, because when I saw this release, I immediately went to look at benchmarks, but we all know the benchmarks don't tell the full story. But still, we do look at benchmarks to give us something, where this is. The folks at ZAI decided to give us a blended benchmark of sorts, where they posted themselves way higher than like 04 Mini, for example, And by the way, we should say they released two models, not only one. They released a 355 billion parameter one, and the lighter one, 106 billion parameter with 12B active. And then they posted like both of these models and kind of in this like blended benchmark. Now, artificial analysis, for example, has their own, they call it intelligence index, and they have a blended benchmark, and they tell you about like which exactly eval benchmarks they go in there. But they do the same one for all models. What these folks did is post some great charts, but in these charts, they kind of mix together different benchmarks like MMLU Pro, AIME from 24, Math 500, Scicode, etc., GPQA. But this is not an average of all those scores. It can be. Some of these are like significantly lower, significantly less. So it's not an average. They didn't post to us how they exactly did this. And so I find this not helpful at all because like I don't know the mix of models they went into. And it's not like we can replicate these results. So them posting this and saying, hey, we're state of the art doesn't mean anything to me necessarily. Then also the second thing that I noticed, and I usually don't go as negative, but folks, like if ZAI is listening, please take this as constructive feedback as well. In the release post, they have shown us that they, let me go find this super quick. They started talking about, which by the way, they released a great technical blog with a lot of detail. Great for you guys. They released a benchmark. Where's this? They released the SwiBench benchmark. Okay, so they claimed state of the art on SwiBench in this like Pareto frontier triangle on the top left. You guys know this this graph, folks, are just listening. They put up like, I don't know, model parameters on the x-axis and then the score on the y-axis, and they show that for model parameters, for the score, they get the highest score for like the least model parameters. They have not included Qwen Coder in there, and Qwen Coder, we'll give them that. It like came out a day before. But they didn't include the Qwen Coder when they compared on SwiBench verified. But they did include Qwen Coder down in comparisons. So they did a comparison, which we should say in their comparison, if they to be trusted, 80% preferred GLM 4.5 for coding versus Qwen 3 Coder, the last one that we saw. But to not include this in the graph just a little bit above, I think that's like uncool. Like you either take and compare yourself to the state of the art, or you don't. You can like selectively choose. And so these two things kind of make me a little bit of like, I don't know about this release. Like I like the it doesn't feel as honest to not give us something we can compare to, and then also to include the absolute state of the art in open source only when you are able to show that you're better than it. So those are my two takes. Otherwise, models are. Okay, not as impressive.
Just really quickly for others, I really appreciated when Junyang came on, and we were all hyping it up that Qwen is better than Sonnet, and then he was like, no, it's actually a little bit worse.
Yep.
And it was very honest about it, and we like that because we know exactly what we're working with. I don't really want to blame this on their engineering. It looks like they got a lot of marketing people, so please just let the engineers post what they want and don't make it too flashy, because I really like these models. I have used these models for a year, and I really wanted to like it as well. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the team is cracked. Absolutely, models are great, but please don't do chart crimes, and please make sure to give us something that we can compare with. Any other comments, folks, on this GLM before we move on? All right, we're moving on. Yeah, you've been quiet on the GLM stuff. Not super interesting to you?
No, actually it's super interesting. I just didn't get the time to test GLM, so I didn't want to speak.
Oh, you didn't have time this week for the 17,000 OpenAI releases to test and eval each one of them in depth? Oh
man, there's so many of them, so many of them. I barely had the time to test Qwen. I did test Qwen, and it's fire, absolutely. But you know, then you get 3 others, so you need to split the time. But yeah.
So we'll get to Qwen, I think, at the end of the open source corner. We'll just mention again that RC, our friends from RC, who are doing multiple things like different. The folks who work on the merge kit are working in RC, I believe, Charles, and some other great folks. They're doing like a lot of very interesting stuff there. They released their own set of foundation models. They call them AFM and AFM 4.5 base on Hugging Face, designed to be flexible, high-performing across a wide range of deployment environment. On benchmarks, they're pretty good, but like they're not focusing on being state-of-the-art on benchmarks. They're a smaller team, but like great results for a 4.5 base model, getting 64 on MMLU. And they're comparing themselves to Qwen and to Gemma 3 and to SmallLM and doing quite a good job there. Not quite getting to Qwen's base, because Qwen is absolutely crack team. And I think it's also based on the data there. Any comments on this, folks? Have you seen the architectural tweaks that they did, or any interesting things there? And if not, we can move on. Just shout out friends of the pod for their releases, absolutely. Maybe we'll bring Lucas on. All right, folks. So so AFM and AFM base on Hugging Face from RC.
Oh, I really quickly want to say this is a huge achievement from them. This is all trained from scratch.
Yep.
The AFM one, and I do actually plan with the Dr. Johnson Thomas. We're going to explore using this one for the on-device medical model because they've really asked for something where at least they know the people from the training data, and that's really important to them. So yeah, anyway, that's a huge, I think they're going to train something bigger now. So it's a bigger deal than it just seems from that 405B, because this is completely from scratch from just some of our friends. They've gone beyond fine-tuning. They've
gone beyond fine-tuning and beyond merging, and they're now training models that go close to Qwen, and Qwen has been training models from scratch for a long time. They have a training data set of 8 trillion tokens and doing curation with the Togi AI. They shouted out the Togi AI for data pipeline curation for quality. So shout out to our friends. They also, I think, did a fundraise for RC, so shout out to them. All right, before we get to Qwen, super quick, Command A Vision launches from Cohere's new state-of-the-art, and from all the way from Canada. Sandra, who was in the show, a friend of the art, says like Command A Vision, first multimodal command model. They had multimodal models before, but now we have this one. Brings state-of-the-art image and text reasoning, enterprise-grade security, of course. So reasoning with vision, folks. I think this is the kind of the name of the game. We have 2 models such as this released in the last hour. This one and StepFun one. I have tried to ask Grok. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm one of those folks like, Grok, is this real? I went and asked Grok, like, hey, compare between these 2 models. Grok gave me too much of a balanced answer, to be honest. Let me see if I can find this. Grok. Where's this? There you go. So basically, they released this chart. Nick Frost, I think, who's this chief scientist? Nick Frost, co-founder. He posted this.
The CTO, I think.
The CTO, yeah. This is what we call chart crimes, also. Because when you try to shove all of these evaluations, folks who are just listening, we're looking at the eval kind of screenshot from Cohere that has chart QA into VQA, AI to the Math Vista, MMMU, basically specific vision benchmarks. And they shove them all onto the same graph, and you cannot see individual scores on each one. And it's really, really hard to understand how much they got on each score. And so you can only estimate. And when you estimate, you're going to make assumptions, and then you make an ass out of you and me. Never mind. So Command Vision, I will say also, the Western labs tend to do this thing. They compare themselves only to other Western labs. So they, Command A Vision is compared only to Llama 4 Maverick here, GPT 4.1, and Mistral Medium 3, all multimodal models. Kind of also, there's no Claude Sonnet here. There's no Geminis, which are great multimodal. So some cherry picking exists. Wolfram, wouldn't you say so? Some cherry picking exists here in the
Definitely. But it's great that Cohere has released a new model. It's been a bit quiet there. Yeah. And this is the vision model is specifically trained for enterprise use, like charts like this. So they could actually use that to create or interpret these charts. Yeah, it's not open source, unfortunately, not really. because it has a CC by NC, no commercial use license, and you also have to adhere to the Cohere SLAB susceptible use policy. So it's more restrictive, but you can get a local version if you pay for it. So at least that is an option, which you don't have with the bigger labs. And yeah, cool that they have released something new.
Yeah.
And multimodal, that has been, I think, pretty missing and is very important to have now. So yeah, great release, I would say.
It's a multimodal reasoner. So we started last year. Folks, we're coming on September, by the way. Very, very soon. We're coming up on 1 year of all of us kind of like finding out about thinking reasoning models when 01 preview was released. You guys remember? Like that was around September, I think, last year that they like showed us test time compute and reasoning models. Since then, reasoning was like a big thing. This is multimodal reasoning, which many of these like new foundation labs now do. But this is like in the open source, very, very impressive from Cohere. The MMU score, the multimodal knowledge has Cohere at, I don't know how to estimate this, folks, between 50 and 75%. This is why we say chart grinds. It's hard to read the charts. I think
you need their model to interpret their charts.
Yeah, so I had a model to interpret the chart. So I asked Grok, hey, compare this to the stats to today's release of StepFun AI, which we're also going to cover. And then Grok basically, isn't it crazy? I'm asking the AI assistant to go and like review other AI assistants. In 1 second, Grok basically went to that other tweet from StepFun and said that StepFun's has MMU at 74%, and this one has MMU at 65%. So StepFun is beating at least on that benchmark. Go ahead, Nissan.
They do feel a business need that's beyond the benchmarks that Cohere does not usually, or at least they've said that they don't train on other models' outputs, so their data is their own. So if there are legal concerns and stuff, a lot of businesses have a pretty good case for using Cohere for that because of their entire data sets and guarantees that they can provide with that. So as long as it's good enough, they do have a business case there for the model. Because other models, you don't know what the Chinese models have been trained on, and a lot of companies don't want to. If there's legal risk involved, they don't want to risk that. But with Cohere, they have a certain level of trust.
Yeah, Cohere definitely is trusted by some other folks where they cannot necessarily like use other models from Chinese sources. I'll pause here just 1 sec from a technical logistical standpoint. Somebody commented that my volume is way lower than other folks. I seem to hear myself fine. Folks on stage, can you hear me well? And then folks in the Twitter space, please also let me know while I'm...
Sounds good to me. Just a little bit lower maybe, but not very much.
Interesting. All right, I'll bring it up just a little bit, and then we can go. So, given that this, and apologies, folks, if you cannot hear me as well, try another source. Try maybe go on X views, and folks who are watching us on X, please let me know as well. Oh, lovely. StepFun just replied to me and said thanks for the kind support. So hey, maybe it's time to talk about StepFun. Now that we've covered Cohere's vision, StepFun. Let's go find them. StepFun. They have just released, and we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for their model release. Step 3 is their latest open source multimodal reasoning model. So kind of like Cohere as well, and kind of like the other models right now. Step 3 is a reasoning multimodal model. 321 billion parameters with 38 billion active. 38 is a lot. Like way more than pretty much everybody else. Probably the vision encoder like active there as well. They have something called multimetrics factorization attention MFA and I don't know attention FFN disaggregation enable efficient inference even on modest GPUs. This is a very interesting stat that they posted, and I want to like highlight this as well. They say that compared to DeepSeek, which is very interesting to compare yourself. This is a multimodal model. DeepSeek is a reasoning model. They get up to 4,000 tokens per second per GPU, 70% faster than DeepSeek v3 under similar conditions. This is not like what I or you will get on the inference. This is like only if you have the whole node to yourself. But 4,000 tokens per second per GPU. This would be split based on like how many people use this. But still, it's a very, very impressive speed up compared to like DeepSeek's like I think 1,000 or so. They have trillion tokens, including 4 trillion multimodal tokens. That's a lot, folks. Because remember, we used to celebrate Llama and those folks, and they were like in the 10 trillion parameters. Like, where the hell did you get these tokens? All of these models, all of these labs now release like just, I don't know how much of this is synthetic. 20 trillion tokens is like incredible. Unfortunately, this has been released for less than an hour. I wasn't able to even go on the blog at some points until folks sent me to a different blog. I wasn't able to test it out. So they said a new Pareto frontier, bringing power, efficiency, and practicality. The Pareto frontier thing is this with the yeah, okay. This is the Pareto frontier graph. Who wants to take on this one, folks? What do we know about StepFun? We covered them a little bit before because this is like the third model. We obviously cover all of these folks. In the decoding costs and context, they absolutely beat everybody else on price as well for activated parameters.
Yeah, I wish they would have put the had this chart, but also a version of it with the y-axis being quality on benchmarks or something, because this y-axis is just like amount of activated parameters, which that's still an interesting metric. Like shows their architecture is more efficient in that way, but yeah.
100%.
Yeah, this is worth an academic discussion, but I don't know. I haven't used the models before, so.
We can look at some of the stats that they posted, and they posted some very interesting stats. And also, wait, this is not it. This is technical stats. This is head sizes and attention classes. That's not the stats that we want, but they definitely compared themselves with DeepSeek and Qwen and Ernie and other open source models. This is the chart that we want to take a look at to see. It's very confusing, but based on this chart. Okay, so here's the comparison that Step3 did. They compared themselves to Llama 4 Maverick, which we know is a great model, but that didn't land as well. Ernie 4.5 that was just released a few weeks ago. Wolfram, when did we cover Ernie? Like a week ago. It's really hard to keep up.
It wasn't that good in my opinion.
Yeah, Ernie wasn't that great. QVQ, which was one of the first reasoning models, if you guys remember, Qwen QWQ was the first open source reasoning model, super quick, and then QVQ is the first multimodal reasoning model. And then they compared themselves also to Mimo. The field of open source reasoning models is not that big, honestly. Like all these models, it's not that big. So compared to pretty much everybody else, they get 74% in MMMU. The just covered Cohere model that we just showed you guys gets, where's the MMMU? Oh, we don't know how much it gets because it's a screenshot, but it gets
I think Coq told you 60 something.
Yeah, like 61 or so. So they beat Cohere's thing. Math Vision 64 completely beats every other model. Hallusion Bench, which I haven't seen before. Yeah, I think the thing about this model also that they highlight kind of the regular non-vision reasoning things like AI Me 25 and GPK Diamond at 82 and 73 respectively. So a decent model, not state of the art on the text one, but definitely looks like we got a new state of the art vision model. I wish I was able to use this, but in their link of hey, use this, you can only register with a Chinese phone, and I wasn't able to. LDJ, any comments?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it seems like in these benchmarks, just like I guess a useful comparison is the Qwen 3 235B MOE model, the thinking version. It seems like it's basically between the level of the original 235B that they released, like, I don't know, that was like, I don't know, a month or two ago maybe, versus the one that just released a few days ago. Like it seems like the Step 3 model is roughly between those in capabilities, while having also similar amount of parameters.
And also vision. And I think so they have similar amount of parameters, but also like the vision encoder. And I think somewhere in the blog, somebody posted out that like they said that continuous training on the vision stuff reduces the textual reasoning ability. I think that's something that they said. They also compared themselves to proprietary VLMs. I will shout out this super quick. We always talk about Cloud at Home. We always talk about like these models in open source getting close to the foundational models. we should always remember all of the foundation models have been multimodal for like years. And since GPT-4 came out and we celebrated this on the show, it's been multimodal. And none of these open source folks are multimodal up until what we just got. So DeepSeek, etc., they haven't yet stepped into multimodality as much. And also, they're multimodal in different ways. Like Gemini understands video, for example, and it's one of the best ones in full understanding of video and audio. And some other ones understand only text, let's say. So multimodality is also like a big, big field that we need to compare themselves to. Yam, thoughts on open source catching up on Foundation Labs with multimodality?
Yeah, I wanted to ask this also on Cohere's model. There are many benchmarks for many different tasks. However, it's different than a general benchmark on text. You can measure, for example, MMLU factual knowledge. Everyone understands, very intuitive, how it checks for factual knowledge. And there are other benchmarks like empty bench, for example, how a model follows orders in general. You give it instructions, they're crazy hard, and you watch how it solves them. It's not that easy to come up with general benchmarks for images. So what do you guys think about the benchmarks that people measure themselves on images? Because I'm just telling you my gut feeling. My gut feeling is that those models are much more general when it comes to multimodality, even if we don't see it on benchmarks against the open models, just because of exactly what you just said. They have more experience. So what do you guys think about the benchmarks for this?
I mean, like in terms of multimodality or generality, Cohere was showing, I think it's called a chart QVA or QAV something. They have like some benchmarks like that, which I think are interesting because it tests the model's ability to do things like chart analysis and stuff. Nistan, you want to say something?
We missed one. Intern LM just trained their 6B vision encoder on top of Qwen 235B. And well, usually what we've known for a while is that the bigger the language model is, the more it has time and latent space to chew on the tokens from the vision encoder. So that's why that works. And you can see that Cohere's is very large too, and that works in their cases as well. That's all I want to say. But we missed the intern LM release. Just one more. Yeah, that's all. I haven't used it, so. Yeah.
Added vision to Qwen, right? That's
the
one?
to the 235B, yeah, the non-thinking one.
Yeah, folks. So we are getting like the field is getting woken up in the vision field as well. Yam, I think that like it's definitely, I agree with you that like the benchmarking for vision is even harder. We chatted with Paul. No, sorry, we chatted with folks. I'm blanking. Joseph Smith?
Is it someone from a specific company you're thinking of?
Yeah, from RoboFlow.
RoboFlow.
Joseph, yeah.
Joseph, yes. Joseph Nelson, not Smith.
Nelson. Yeah.
I was blanking on the last name. We chatted with Joseph Nelson from RoboFlow last week, and like they have chatted about how the evaluations for just vision, like Coco, for captioning, they're like a decade old, and the model like since then significantly improved. So they have to come up with their own benchmarks, for example, for some of the vision stuff. So the field definitely moves. As always, I think it's evergreen. If we start posting and saying, "Hey, we need better evals," like I think this will always be a thing.
I also have something noticed just now that the Step 3 model has 64K context, whereas the Cohere model only had 32K. So it has double the context size, which means the images take up more tokens than plain text. So of course you can also have more images in there for the reasoning.
Yeah, I think also we don't see a comparison to Reka, and Reka has been doing incredible multimodal models here and been open sourcing them as well. So I don't blame them, folks. There's only a certain amount of context or I don't know context, but like attention, whatever. When you release a model, there's only so much that you can spend on actually kind of like comparing some of these models. So and knowing which ones are state of the art is also difficult because state of the art changes from week to week. If they don't follow Thursday, they don't know, and sometimes even we don't know. We have been talking for an hour. We haven't yet talked about Qwen, folks. So it's time. It's time to talk about the absolute incredible releases from our friends at Alibaba Qwen this week. And we already covered incredible releases about Alibaba Qwen last week. So what changed since then, folks? Who wants to cover some of the releases?
Yeah, I can jump in.
All right, let's do it.
So I guess maybe we could start with the most recent one that just happened today. So the Qwen 3 Cohere Flash, which I was just looking at the benchmarks of right now. And actually here, I'll send you a link to that too, so you can pull it up, Alex.
I have the benchmarks right here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this right here, it looks like Web Arena, especially something that people have been looking at lately. And like Mine 2 Web, like these are things where there's like two Web Arenas. There's like LM Arena, Web Arena, and then there's like a computer use benchmark. This is the computer use benchmark they're talking about here. And that's looks like it's like almost on par with the large 480 billion parameter Qwen 3 Cohere model that they have, and especially competing with something like, if you look at OpenAI GPT 4.1 and DeepSeek V3, which people were gushing over just a few months ago, it's pretty insane just the progress we're making here.
LDJ, you're burying the lead here. This is a 30 billion parameter model with only 3 billion active parameters, which runs on your Mac with like 70 tokens per second. This is like a tiny model that we can quantize the crap out of. It like fits on most GPUs. I think
you like a 4090, yeah. Like if you quantize it like Q4, yeah.
It fits on most consumer GPUs, and this is a tiny model, and its performance is quite impressive. It beats Schema on Terminal Bench. Sweet Bench verified at 51%. Like it was state of the art not so long ago with the bigger models that we got to 51%, and now this like tiny model does this, and it's really fast. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, I know somebody who was even just using it on like without a dedicated GPU, just on system RAM. And because it has such little active parameters that you can actually get it like somewhat decent speed, sometimes just from regular system RAM as well.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's pretty insane. We have something that's so small, and yeah, like for context of somebody that might not understand what A3B means here, it just, since it only activates that amount, it's essentially nearly as fast as if you just had a 3 billion parameter model that was like a regular dense version.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
Could
guys, this runs at 1 million context. You guys know that?
What?
Oh, I didn't know that either. No.
Oh yeah. If you do the Yarn one, it will run at 1 million.
Whoa! What GPU did you use?
Nistan, can we show your screen? What are you showing us?
I mean, yeah, sure. I'll show the 480B with Crush going.
That's what I wanted to ask super quick. Once
just let me know whenever.
Yeah. Once you get ready, folks. Speculative decoding. Would it work on both of these models? This looks like the same version of the top model, right?
Yeah. It has the same vocab. So
it has the same vocabulary. So technically, even us at the inference level, if we like host Qwen 3 Coder, we can like enable speculative decoding with this and like speed up the performance even more.
Yeah, there was some bug with the V1 of VLLM, so I wasn't able to get that working. But I can show the bigger one. Just running.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, so let's not forget, we also have two other models in Qwen to cover that came out a little bit before. But Nistan, go ahead, show us what you have.
All right, so it's just running here on 8 GPUs, and I'm going to fire it up right now. So I'm just going to fire it up with Crush, and so I'm just going to start Crush. And what could possibly go wrong? I could just say, hey, review all my files.
And so Crush is the open source kind of like clone of Cloud Code that looks very nice.
Yeah, and you can see here like this is running live right now, and if I can zoom in, it will do like 60,000 tokens input per second, and it basically just flies. So it's sending 100,000 tokens every single time, and it just
go ahead.
It just flies.
Yeah,
Nistan, has a question.
I just want to ask Nistan, what's the setup? And if you can tell us a little bit about Crush, I heard about it, but that's the first time I see it in use. So I want to know for myself. What do you think? I mean, you're using it, so maybe a reason.
I really like it, so I'll try Subagents on it right now. I'm still getting used to it, so to speak. But let's just say, I don't know, fire up 2 Subagents to review the code base in parallel. So this is all like Qwen 480B running in VS16, and dude, I like the aesthetics. It's pretty much built off the same code base as open code, and I used open code, and I got Qwen to work with it. The reason I used Crush was I was very impatient, and then the dev just gave me the trick to run the Subagents, which is still in beta right now. But this works. This is a production app at my company that I'm CTO of, and it just flies. Like, it will just burn tokens like it's nobody's business. And the app is very good, is very stable. There's a bunch of, I really like the UI because you can switch models here. I can stop it. I can say summarize session. And the UI looks very good on mobile too, so it resizes very nicely.
Nice.
It's beautiful, beautiful for sure.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you can add your language server protocols here. So I have some JavaScript and some stuff. And I'll show you guys my actual config if you guys want. So the config here. Oh, I was actually running 2. But
just make sure don't expose any of your tokens. But while you pull that up, I will just say, folks, Nissan got like super viral, like 500,000 views for his thing, and most of the people asked like, "Hey, how do you like set this up with like what config?" So this is you're getting like very important alpha here. I haven't even heard of Crush until Nissan like said, "I'm burning millions of tokens with."
Yeah. So there's some drama going on there, but I'm good with both devs. So I like both. I help both to get Qwen working. So I don't. That's not on me. But this thing, it just flies. And I'll try to post a tutorial for running it with the A380B model. But yeah, it gets to a point where I can't really put any agentic workloads because they're done in like 5 minutes, and it would take like 4 hours with the Subagents on thing. This just fires them all up at once. So this is just pushing 200,000 tokens right now. So this is already more than what Thing can do, what Claude Sonnet. And it's very useful. I cap it at about 500,000, and I tested it up to 700,000 token prompts, and it was just eating them. So it's not perfect yet. Some of the tool calls fail here and there, but it is smart enough on its own to just know. So yeah, that's.
Listen, for folks who are not watching, we're watching a very nicely designed command line interface, almost like a full UI thing. On the right, it says how many tokens you push, like 211K, and also there's a price there.
Yeah,
$30. Did you just burn $30 since you started showing us this, or was this?
No,
like from
I like
stream?
posting the price with Sonnet pricing because I like to see how much money I'm not spending.
Oh. So this $30 you would have spent if you use Cloud Code, but you're not using Cloud Code, so you just like posted like Sonnet pricing, but you could put something like a weights and biases pricing, which we I think have 10 cents and 10 cents out on Cloud Coder, and then you'd see how much comparison you will not be spending.
Yeah, I like it. It should just be 0, but I'm trying to fire up 5 Subagents now, and it's doing it. But remember, it's pretty new. It's still under development. And yeah, no, it's great. I love it. It looks great.
For folks who like only until last week maybe haven't heard about Subagents as a concept, Cloud Code launched Subagent. I think we didn't cover this last week as well. And then you also have like in the open source Subagents. Describe the thing. Like what is it used to? How do you use this?
So Subagents are if you have a pretty large code base and you want to divide up the work, or let's say you have a whole bunch of pages in your app, and can I close my screen?
Yeah, you're good.
I don't want to show any more things from the actual app because this is the actual production.
You're off screen. Feel free to
the reason you want to do it is like, let's say you have 20 different pages on your app or 20 different menus, and you want to review them. With Claude, you fire up Subagents, and because it has vision, it can look at a picture from your designs, and each one can say, hey, the buttons here are off. It doesn't look like the design and stuff. And you can do all of that at once. I know people are going a little bit crazy with it and just going like on a hiring spree of agents that they don't really need. But usually I keep it simple. I just keep it like 2 or 3, and just have one do the reviews, have one do the testing, and maybe have another one, I don't know, run some other tool. And it used to be people were firing up like 11 subagents with like myself with the Claude Code when they were not limiting it, and that was great. But now that is too slow. So again, the same thing that takes on a very large code base, takes Claude Code subagents to do it with Opus, takes like 4 hours. This thing was literally done in 6 minutes because nobody else is using the full node of H200s, and everything that I do is cached on it. But the moment that I give it to a few friends, it is slowed down considerably.
Because you had your own node, of course.
Yeah. So that's how I was pushing 50 million token, like 39, but like I got close. Yeah.
I will say, Nisten, you'll post the tutorial on your, so folks definitely who don't follow Nisten yet should follow Nisten. I want to see how to get it running with WB Inference, which we'll cover in a second. Also, Jan, go ahead.
Question, listen. I believe you. It works fast. I believe you. It's cheaper. However, does it work as well?
Yeah,
does it work as well as Claude Code? Moreover, there are 2 different things here. Do you feel that the model is good enough, and do you think that the infrastructure is good enough as Claude Code? I mean, how is it if I'm going to use it on a daily basis?
If you're going to create a new part of the app, I would still go with Opus or Sonnet. You're going to get better styling on it. It's this is more of a use when your code base just starts to get too big, and you need to make some changes around. Like, I want to add all the logins or all the stuff. I need you to fix all my linter errors. For those things, it is excellent. It will get the job done and get the app perfect to your spec. But if you want stuff on screen to look very nice, Opus is still king in that regard. So code reviews, fixing bugs, doing stuff at large scale, it's pretty good, but it can make visual changes that you don't like in that regard. But I love it to just get my code base back to a stable build. Let's just say Sonnet has gone wild for the night, or the moon is off or something, and it's just messed up the app, or it just made the files way too big. This is excellent for compacting your code base, because you can say, here's the whole thing. Here's the whole thing again. Just tell me where are duplicate pieces of code, where are duplicate components. Just remove those. It is amazing.
Were you supporting the full 1 million context on your node as well? Do you extend the Qwen coder with Yarn?
Yeah, it's just on 8 H200s. I could only get up to 518,000 tokens for problems in vFloat 16. And with just 4 H200s running it in FP8, I was able to get about 700,000 thing, which is pretty good. I did support the full context at FP8, and I kept the context at BF16, and that was excellent. And that could run up to like 1.5 million tokens. You can extend it more, but again, they don't recommend doing a yarn multiplier of more than 4. So what this does is it just multiplies 260,000 tokens by 4. But usually keeping the multiplier at 3 or 2, you do actually get a little bit higher quality. And so this is what I recommend this for. It's just like really reducing your code base, fixing all the junk, fixing all the crap. And then if you need something new, you give it back to Claude Code, because there's no replacement for making new things for Opus.
All right, 2 last questions, LDJ and Yam, and then we'll continue to this week's buzz, and then we'll continue to talk about big companies, APIs, vision, and video, which we have a lot to talk about, and also AI, art, and diffusion in the second hour. So folks, stay with us. LDJ, go and then Jan, sorry.
Yeah, I think Jan was saying earlier, talking about reliability, and I'm not sure if he was talking about like capabilities reliability or actual like server reliability, but if he was talking about server reliability, I mean, I think we all know Claude has kind of Anthropic has maybe been one of the least reliable in terms of like, you know, like constantly hitting rate limits for being like put down to haiku because there's too much sonnet demand and things like that. And so arguably by using something like you know, CoreWeaver or like different inference platforms like Together AI, you might even get like a more reliable experience from an infrastructure perspective with Qwen Coder as opposed to even using Anthropic models.
100%. Yeah, go ahead, and then we will continue. I will just I have one note about Anthropic's nerfing.
My question is, listen, you're talking about a very long context. The question, the obvious question is, did you compare it to Gemini? I mean, what do you think about Gemini?
I'm biased, so I've never liked Gemini, so just take that with a grain of salt. But to me, it is better. It's just better this way. I don't know. The rumors are completely unconfirmed that Gemini has some like kind of hybrid attention, where once it goes above the thing, it uses like some Mamba layers. These are all just made up, or what we think it is. No one's confirmed them. But after about 160,000 tokens or 200,000 tokens, Gemini gets pretty bad. This, I was running it at over 400,000. I didn't really notice any drop in quality after 400,000. So that's my experience with it. It's a lot better. It's a lot more.
And just to be clear, you're running 400,000 with an agent that is constantly, like, you know, step by step on its own, traveling your code and doing agentic things.
Both. So when you fire up 4 sub-agents, they can each use 400,000. And if nobody else is using the GPUs, you get full caching, and the response time is less than a second. It's crazy. Sorry.
And again, just again, size of a model that you're able to run with 500,000 context on one node, just to give, you know, this is what people are going to use if they're going to do it. So
full bfloat 16 on 8 H200s that are 142 gigs each, that will give you 518,000 tokens of context, and at full quality, nothing quantized, everything as the weights came out. Honestly, I didn't really notice that much of a difference between FP8 and BF16 in my testing, but more is warranted.
It's really hard to come up with evals benchmarks to see quantization differences, especially on that level, which is that's not that much. And we've been trying to figure out whether or not running this in full precision is important. I will just say, like, we're running things in full precision as a statement. Like, we want to give you whatever the labs gave you, but yeah, FP8 is significantly smaller and cheaper to run. All right, folks, we have to move on because there's a bunch of stuff to talk about, and we've been here for an hour. Nistan will post more than an hour, an hour 15. Nistan will post his config, folks. Definitely stay tuned for that. I'm very interested in using Crush, using WB Inference. Meanwhile, while that config is coming up, I will just say that...
Sorry, really quick, I was the first to get Qwen working, and I did use the 1B inference for that. I really recommend people, when they switch to the 235B model, if it's like a business product or something and they're trying to get an analysis, I just find the 235B thinking, first of all, is way cheaper, and it's actually very, very good. And again, last week, that was the highest benchmarking medical model too. So if you switch between these two, that's a very good way to use it. So I use that in open code.
So we kind of got sidetracked there from updating on the other 2 models that was launched this week. So we covered the Qwen 3 coder Flash, and then the Qwen 3 coder, the main one that needs to be used in open source. Wolfram, what are the other 2 Qwen models that we got since the chatting this last week? I think those are also important to highlight, and then we'll move on to the weights and biases corner.
Yeah, the smaller ones, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have, we got all 3 on the small models now as well. The thinking model, the normal instruct model, and the coder model that was released just before the show, breaking news. So yeah, we have all of them. We can run them locally. I was using the MLX version on my MacBook with, you mentioned it before, almost 90 tokens per second. And it was at 4-bit, but in my benchmarks, it was better than, for instance, let me quickly check, For example, Llama 4 Maverick got a worse score that way, and it was running on the big online version, so full precision. ChatGPT 4.0 latest, when I tested it in April, it also got a worse score in the MMLU Pro's computer science benchmark, of course. But it's an amazing model for just 30B active 3B. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's why it's so fast. Yeah, it's amazing. And
so
it's
just
great that
as
they
a
released
reminder
them.
for folks, as folks are joining us, just a reminder that like the Qwen folks and Junyang was here last week to tell us why have stopped releasing hybrid reasoning models. They are now releasing one thinking model, and that's the thinking is turned on by default. And then they're also releasing a non-reasoning model on purpose, and that has like very, very good scores compared to their like thinking model with thinking off from 3 months ago. So now we have like a small variation of every one of the bigger models. So just to shout out, we have Qwen 3 thinking 2507. That's 235 billion parameters with like 32 active, I believe. I'm not watching any. I'm just trying to go off memory. I'm not watching any notes. And then we have the non-thinking, just like Qwen 3 2507 instruct model, and that has also 30 billion parameter or 32. And then we also have the coder one, around like a huge one. Then we have 3 variations of a smaller models, all of them in around like 3 billion active parameter range. So Qwen, and they're also like upgraded to 2507. So we kind of have like 6 models from the Qwen team by now. And they're all little upgrades, and those little upgrades are significantly jumps on scores. The thing that I want to highlight is that got me confused, and somebody called it out on my X, is that the new smaller models, let me see if I can find that super quick. Yeah, this one. So the new smaller models, and we've been there before, they beat the previous larger models. And I was very confused because I saw it here, and here on the screen you guys can see Qwen 3, 30 billion parameter, active 3 billion parameter, thinking 2507. Okay, so the latest thinking 2507, it's very important to know the 2507 has on multiple places like AIME 25, for example, and Live Code Bench, which is coding, beats the previous where is this? Qwen 3 235B like model. So I don't know if this is distillation. Let me try to like summarize again. I think I lost the train of thought here. The current set, the newly updated set of 2507 smaller models with 3 billion parameter active, they beat the previous bigger model from 3 months ago on thinking, and those are like 22 active billion parameters. Very impressive benchmarks there. Yeah, any comments on this kind of like paradigm of smaller models?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's not beating a little bit bigger model. Like, look at the sizes, and it's just mind blowing. It really makes you think, how far can we push this? Just not just put Qwen aside, like in general. How far can we actually push something like this? But again, it's worth noting that specifically smaller models, although I totally believe the scores, it's a great model, there is no denying. Smaller models have more holes, you can say, holes in their understanding and so on, simply because there is less space. So it is absolutely a great model, but you can expect that, you know, you will feel pretty fast larger model that has larger model smell. You can say you will feel the smell really fast. But again, it's absolutely insane that, you know, casually, like you see a 30B model outperforming like 200 something B model from, yeah, it's crazy.
From 3 months ago, not even a year ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah, it's like 3 months ago. I mean, how did you even start the training this time? Like, how did you do this? Like, what? I mean, it's just crazy. And you know that like 3 months ahead or like 6 months from now, you're gonna get something even crazier, a smaller model, or it's just insane. It's just insane because your use cases are not changing. So the models are getting extremely better, extremely smaller, but you use them roughly for the same things. So just think about it this way. It's just crazy, in my opinion. Mhm.
Alrighty, we're moving on, folks. We're moving on
I
to.
could just add one thing about the size and the
I've
differences.
been trying to move for a while. Go on.
I talked to Jin Yang as well about this on the last show, because in other languages, because the models are much smaller, you also have much less latent space and context for the other languages. So you notice pretty quickly then some issues that the bigger models don't have. So that is also important for people using it in non-English, that the bigger model may be much better than a smaller one.
All right, folks, it's time for us to do super quick this week's buzz. This week's buzz is a category where we talk about everything that's new in weights and biases. So let's tune into this. Stay with us, because after this week's buzz, it's not like an ad. I'm going to show you like super cool stuff, and you can get some credits. But weights and biases Cohere is the sponsor for the podcast, the only one. And we do want to give you an update on what's going on there. Afterwards, we're going to talk about AI art and diffusion explosion this week, and also we're going to talk about video and vision explosion this week as well. Stay tuned. Alrighty, this is this week's buzz, a corner of Thursday for July 31st, that I give you updates about everything that happens in the world of weights and biases, Weave, models, and lately WNB Inference, where we have put all of the main 3 big Qwen models on production day 1. I'm very, very proud of the team. Shout out to the whole team for this. It takes quite a few folks from ML dev people to download these models, to productionize them, to a bunch of folks on the Inference side to put them up in the catalog and think about pricing. And we have the most unbeatable pricing. I think we have a system where if you match our pricing, we could probably go lower, at least for the beginning, while we kind of test out our Inference service. So we also give out some credits for you to try. And if you comment on the main post that we do when we release these models, you have a fairly I would say fairly good chance to win from $20 to $50 in credits. Now, how will you use these credits? That's kind of absolutely up to you. Our APIs are OpenAI compatible. Entirely fully, with the little addition of a project variable that we're working hard to remove. But also, there is a way to use this in different places. So folks are using VS Code, folks are using Charm that Nissen just showed us, and folks are using Cloud Code. And this week, I was very, very happy to see friends of the pod and some listeners as well to actually show how to do this. And Wolfram, I think you started the revolution on Reddit by yourself of how to configure kind of Cloud Code. And then we saw Olaf, a listener of the show. I think I saw Olaf doing multiple times.
I know him personally, actually.
Oh, you know Olaf personally? That's
we
great.
met on the AI Dev event, and so I've talked to him personally. He's a cool guy, and I'm excited that he even took it much further than I was going, because he's an expert in light LLM. He did it really well.
Yeah, so
I'm using his method as well now.
So let's shout out Olaf. Let me try to pull this up. Let's shout out Olaf Geibig. I don't know how to pronounce this. Is that the right pronunciation? Geibig, yeah. Olaf Geibig, a listener of the show. He basically set up Cloud Code and VS Code to run the Qwen 3 models using our Inference, and then all of the 3 Qwen 3 models replacing the Sonnet ones. So he replaced Sonnet with Qwen 3 Coder, Opus with the Qwen 3 Thinking model, and Haiku with the standard Qwen 3. This is kind of the mapping that he did. And it's very easy to set up, and literally takes less than 5 minutes to set up. Basically, what you need is to export your 1B API key and your 1B project. This is kind of the last remaining hurdle to go for fully being OpenAI compatible, but it's fine. You go on Weights and Biases, you open the project, it's super easy. And then the LightLLM config file that you will use this in this command, you basically will run LightLLM on whatever port. You don't even have to know what it is, just a copy and paste this. All you need to know is this is the config, cc proxy YAML, and then you have like a proxy here that proxies this model name, Anthropic Cloud Sonnet X, into this model from us, from LightLLM params, OpenAI, Qwen, etc. LightLLM is a service that runs locally on your device and basically does the translation from one API kind of like thing to another. And you don't even have to know all this. All you do is you do this. Literally, just go here. I will put this link on the show notes as well. You have all these 3 files. You export the API keys, which you can get at 1b.me/1b.ai/authorize if you're already signed in. And if you're not, I can show you how to get it. I'm obviously not going to show you mine. And then you have basically this. You basically tell Anthropic, hey, Anthropic, instead of going to Anthropic, hey, Cloud Code, instead of going to Anthropic base URL, go to localhost 4000 where you have a proxy running. It's very simple, folks, and I'll show you how this looks right now. Hopefully this will work for me. So I've masked out my 1B API key here, obviously, and I have this like proxy. I haven't changed anything in Olaf's setup besides this. He had this with VS Code, and I did it with Cloud Code. Okay, so I will now gonna like uncomment my API key so it will actually work. I will show you that this is all you need. Anthropic auth token, it doesn't matter because you don't use this. Base URL is this 4000, so you need to run this this proxy. I think I have the proxy running. Yes, I have the proxy running, and then you have you basically run code with these environment variables. So if I do Claude, you will see that I am now running. My MCP servers are failing, but I am now running essentially Cloud Code. Let's say tell me about this project. And then we go, and then into our proxy, we can see started streaming that like you run, let's see if this works. We'll start streaming. Of course, the law of right demos. Yeah, I think it's going. Yep. So this, I think we already have with Cloud, with the Qwen 3 coder. It reads the files.
It works with MCPs, by the way. So that they failed had nothing to do with the proxy. I used it with MCPs as well.
Yeah, and MCPs use the same way that the MCPs used in Cloud Code. So very, very interesting, very simple to run, and it uses the LiteLLM stuff, and it works very, very nicely. So that's, I think, all that I wanted to show you this week. Besides the fact that I wanted to mention that we have put these models, Qwen 3 Thinking 2507, Qwen 3 Instruct Non-Thinking 2507, and Qwen 3 Coder all on the on the WB Inference. Now feel free to comment. Wolfram, the comment that you just did, feel free to add as well.
Yeah, I benchmarked it, and it cost me 22 cents for just 2 million tokens with a thinking model. Which, if you are doing this with, for example, Opus, when I benchmarked that was $75 per million tokens. So I would have paid $150 actually instead of 22 cents for that one just benchmark.
Wait, say the comparison again. I want to.
Yeah, Opus costs $75 per million token output. And it was generating, because it's a thinking model, so it thinks a lot. So it would have cost me $150 for almost 2 million tokens. Yeah.
Wow.
And on your Weights and Biases Inference, it cost me 22 cents.
22 cents versus $150. That's basically, yeah, go ahead.
Question, if we are using different models with Cloud Code, question for those that tried it, every feature works, like the browser, the searching online, everything. Did you check it? I mean,
multimodal doesn't work because these models are not multimodal. But yeah, I actually don't know. Good question.
The MCPs, I had some issues with some MCPs where I didn't get the right parameters at once, and so it gets an error message and it has to retry. So I would still say that the quality isn't exactly the same. Of course, it's also not the price. So like Niston said before, with another way to do it, you can start with Opus for the big stuff, make the plan, make the basic stuff, and then use Qwen, for instance, to do smaller stuff. I think that is a good workflow.
Yeah.
But it's very important to have a big model with a large context. And the great thing here is Qwen, like Niston extended it to 1 million tokens. You can do that yourself. So you get a lot more tokens than Claude models, which are limited to 200,000 tokens. And yeah, even if you just use half of that million, you still have more context. So it has advantages as well.
Did this require the proxy app setup, or you just set the environment variables? That's my first question. And two, did you notice a lot of failed tool calls? I I had some trouble setting it up.
Yeah, so
I
this
had some-
requires the Light LLM kind of running, the proxy
Yeah.
app, like running in the background to translate those like API calls. But I
Yeah,
haven't
there are
tested it fully.
dedicated. There are dedicated proxies as well that you can use, but the method here is you can fully control it, and it has other uses, of course, Light LLM. Well, that's why I started using that, so to be fully compatible and choose any settings I needed.
But
That
you,
was
you
one
didn't.
reason.
You did not need to do that in this case. You just set the environment variables, and that worked.
Yeah, it's all in the code, in the config. There are the parameters for temperature, for instance, because we want to use the recommended settings. So here the settings are. And when you use another model, you just adjust them.
Okay, thank you. Because I don't trust random Python proxies in the in the middle. So this is a much nicer setup. Okay.
Yeah, it's Light LLM, so it's not just a random proxy, but it is a big, well-known software actually, used by commercial providers and stuff. But your comment about tool calls, that is correct. I had some issues, like I said, with the MCPs, some MCPs. So yeah, they gave an error message, and the AI just tried it until it got it right.
The best thing
So it's
about
not as perfect.
the best thing about open source stuff is that, like, while folks are trying this out, they can also report this, and then the folks at Qwen can fix them. Alrighty, folks. So just a note about the pricing, super quick, as Wolfram mentioned them. On our inference service, we have Qwen3 Coder at like unbeatable $1 per input per 1 million input tokens, $1.50 per 1 million output tokens. This beats the Qwen themselves. I think Qwen themselves is like $8 per 1 million output tokens, if not more. We have Qwen3 at just 10 cents, and then Qwen3 Thinking also at just 10 cents. This is crazy unbeatable. So please go and use them and let us know about the inference. We would love to know like where this works, what tool call works, etc. We are moving on. So off this week's buzz, we're going to talk about big companies APIs and then some video models. Stay with us. From CoreWeave. From CoreWeave. I have built this transition before we move to CoreWeave, but I have to mention weights and biases from CoreWeave now, because all of this GPU richness, niceness comes from the CoreWeave folks. Shout out OpenAI uses CoreWeave. Folks, don't go take a look at this company. It's crazy. All right, moving
By the way,
forward.
one disadvantage of your transitions is that we don't see you dancing. We see you, but not the others.
Yeah, I do dance during the transitions, a little window. Folks can see this, but not the folks that tune in with us. All right, folks, we have just about 30 minutes to cover a lot of ground. So I'm going to just run through this super quick. Feel free to just like chime in with comment when you have them, because we'll start with big companies APIs. No releases this week besides testing. So let's maybe cover this. We'll start with this. LM Arena have tested multiple models that they like put up and then took down, and then multiple folks have like jumped on them, and some of them were called Zenith, Summit. I remember, I think there's a few more. LDJ, I don't know if you already have some of the names, but basically those folks tested these like on Web Arena and some other stuff, and many of these like early taste testers, they have gotten very, very excited about some of these unreleased models, because they claim that potentially this is like GPT-5 testing in early stages. LDJ, go ahead, give us a little bit more information there.
Yeah, so here, I'll put in some links in the StreamYard chat so you could pull this up too.
Yes,
but
please.
essentially we have here these models like Zenith, Starfish, Summit, multiple models like these, which people are saying are really good at coding. It's an LM Arena and also kind of a subcomponent of LM Arena now called Web Dev Arena. And that's more for, I guess, like vibe coding and creating websites and stuff. And here are the two links to that I just got.
Yeah.
And somebody on Twitter named, his name's like literally just like legit API. He has analyzed a lot of these things and kind of got his sense of different speeds between the models. And it seems like maybe Summit is maybe like GPT-5 or GPT-5 Pro based on a lot of people's experience and the speed and everything. And yeah, on Simple Bench, which is like our reasoning benchmark with just basic like things like spatial reasoning and temporal reasoning and things like that. Models right now, I think, are mainly getting below like 50-60% on that last I checked. and this is apparently getting like very high, like 80% or higher, it seems, based on some preliminary results. So that's
Simple
really
Bench
exciting.
is the one that we test often with. So shout out to Explained AI on
Mhm.
YouTube. We're also sponsoring him. So like, it is a public set. So Simple Bench does have a private set that he doesn't expose. So we're gonna wait and see. But yeah, it looks like we're getting like 65% to DOP models right now. 10 out of 10 is crazy. So I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
And
then there's also this I just sent you. Or actually, if you want to click the second legit API link first.
I saw it, but like it's deleted. So
Oh, okay. Well, if you click on the this, I have a screenshot of that actually. Here is here's a screenshot of that before it was deleted.
1 second. Let's take a look. Why was it deleted? I wonder.
Because
Rio works at Cursor, right?
Exactly. So he's an employee of Cursor, and like I guess he didn't blur it well enough, but you can kind of make out like it says like GPT-5 alpha.
Alpha.
Yeah. So I guess that's why it was deleted, and there was also Tibor. Tibor often finds things. This was confirmed by Tibor and Jimmy Apples, and I think even by like another third source. But basically, GPT-5 reasoning is already found now within ChatGPT application. So if you look at here,
models list GPT-5 Auto, GPT-5 reasoning.
Yeah,
it's very, very interesting.
Very exciting stuff. Yep.
So that's coming, and we thought it could have been coming today, but maybe not necessarily today. Jan, go ahead.
OpenAI, you had the opportunity to do the funniest thing, and we are waiting for you to do the funniest thing and release it at the middle of the podcast. Come on, give us GPT-5. We want GPT-5. Come on.
More than welcome. We'll stay on for more than the 2 hours that we usually get allotted. All right, folks. So this is kind of the rumors. There's one other thing in the rumors. There's another. So these models, Zenith, Summit, Starfish. I think Lobster is one. I don't remember. They have been tested. Some folks are assuming that those are GPT-5. We know GPT-5 is being tested also in companies like Cursor from this like now deleted, not that great blurred screenshot from Rio. But we also saw another model called Horizon Alpha, and that's on Open Router. You can go and test that run right now because I think the other models, the Starfish, the Summit, the whatever, they got taken down. Like they put up one, they tested it out, they take it down, and so people like super quickly jumped on this. And this one is an Open Router, 256,000 context. People believe that this may be the open source one. The Horizon Alpha, they have some results based on this. Let me go look. But people believe that this may be the open source testing one. Sam Peach, our friend from EQ Bench, said the Horizon Alpha, the new stealth model, swept the EQ Bench leaderboards. So that's crazy. This is like look at the difference in slop, like less slop than Gemini 2.5 and less repetition as well. This is a great score. 80.
We can't see your screen right now, by the way.
My bad. Thank you so much, LDJ. All right, so Horizon Alpha, the new stealthy tested non-reasoning model on Open Router beats EQ Bench with 80.5. Just like completely sweeps EQ Bench. Very impressive. What else he has there? He also like number 3 at creative writing after 03, and Kimi still tops that one with great length as well. So yeah, some very interesting things from Horizon Alpha, and then
right there, yeah. I actually saw that earlier. So apparently, this is basically like a hallucination test graph, and it seems like it's just much better at saying when it doesn't know something, and like just
the not attempted part, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So it does seem to overall be worse in terms of getting correct answers in GPT-4o and models like that, which makes me suspect it might be an open source model, but it does seem really good at just avoiding hallucinations and knowing when it's wrong.
Knowing when it's wrong is like very, very important. So a bunch of folks testing. Actually, I need to follow this guy. We need like a bunch of folks are testing this on qualitative benchmarks for the Horizon Alpha. Very interesting. We will tell you guys when we know what that model was. But if it is the open source model and it's not the reasoning, they didn't give us the reasoning part. Alrighty, so I think we're moving on in the, we're running. In the big companies APIs, we're moving on to cover some of the other stuff. I think the number one thing that I had was Zuck's vision for personal superintelligence. As we've covered, Meta Superintelligence Labs, MSL, hiring all these people with like incredible offerings in to 100 to 300 million. Some have gotten up to $1 billion for 4 years. That's like a crazy amount of offers. We finally have a statement from them of what they mean to do with this like foundation lab. It's very interesting that Zuck positioned this as personal superintelligence, right? So, folks, we're now way past AGI. Everybody was trying to talk about like, hey, when AGI back in the couple of years that we've been doing this, and now Zuck is going towards not only superintelligence that they control, personalized superintelligence. Of course, that very much fits with Meta's vision. Speaking of Meta vision, I'm wearing the Meta glasses. Zuck literally feels that the personal superintelligence will run on your face, seeing everything you see, hearing everything you hear, and then you'll be able to interact with this. So Meta Ray-Bans and Meta Oakleys, like these, are definitely in the vision of kind of how Meta is planning to put this on your face and kind of have you disconnect from your phone. Instead of centralized automation, the vision champions AI that people control to the personal devices like smart glasses. This is literally Zuck's kind of like whole thing. Now, will this be able to run superintelligence on my face? No, it's probably going to talk to superintelligence in Meta's clusters. The one thing that I do want to show is how
You're
far...
not sharing at the moment.
I'm going to share. Thank you. The one thing I do want to show is that how far we've come. So shout out to Nathan Lambert for this. How far we've come in 1 year from Meta going fully open source into 2024. He said Meta is committed to open source AI and therefore a platform that will be around that long term. Today, we need to be rigorous about mitigating this risk and careful about what we choose to open source. I think that change stems from folks like Alex Wang and some other folks coming into Meta Superintelligence Labs, but also from Superintelligence supposedly does a lot more than just regular old AGI. Super quick comments on this, people? Like really super quick. We have like 20 minutes.
Yeah. There's also, I think this happened in the past week. Meta poached 3 of the people that worked on the IMO model for DeepMind. So yeah, I think that was pretty significant. And also, I'd be very surprised if they actually go completely closed source. I think they're still going to open source things, at least let's say in like the 1B to 70B range, like they usually have been, and things that can compete with the Qwen models, the Gemma models. And now, obviously, OpenAI is about to open source models. So I think it'd be very awkward if Meta truly goes completely open source at all levels. But I could see them definitely keeping the largest sizes, trillion plus parameters closed source and making the smaller ones open.
Yeah. We also should shout out that Alex Wang and Zuck both posted together that like also last week, Shengya Zhao, who was chief scientist, who was working on some of the math stuff in OpenAI as well. And I think he was part of the stream for the agent as well. He's now chief scientist at Meta. So they announced a chief scientist as well. They kind of already had a chief scientist that we know, Jan LeCun, but now Jan LeCun is chief scientist of Meta Fair, and Shangyo is the chief scientist of Meta Superintelligence Labs. Yeah, I think you had a comment as well, and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, I just want to say exactly what LDJ said. That I agree. It'll be pretty awkward for them to go fully not open source when the trend is clearly going towards open source. And it makes sense. It doesn't disturb your business. If you release open source, people still going to use the API, especially if you have larger versions of your model. But one thing that I'm curious about is this whole thing started somewhere around the Llama 4 incident. And it really makes you think that incident was catastrophic. I mean, it was traumatic when you think about it. The entire thing changed to now, and it really makes you think, what happened? Because it's, I don't know, there is something unexplained about Llama 4. Something is off, and it's interesting because they were leading very hard until this very moment. And I don't know.
One comment and then we'll moving on.
Sure. We do know that there was a lot of people that left around, like after Llama 1 and especially around Llama 2, a lot of people left to Mistral and also to start different labs. Some of the people from Meta even went on to create Sesame, which we know at this point. And a lot of the people leaving, and to go to some of the more closed source labs, it seems like Meta was making good progress, but just not fast enough to retain their talent. And I heard around Llama 3, Zuck was trying to restructure and reorg some things to try and improve things. But that didn't really work, as we could see with Llama 4, and it just kind of kept the momentum
And
going.
then let's face it, DeepSeek came out when the whole GRPO and like RL and stuff, and then there was the whole rumor mill around one executive at Meta receiving way more money a year than DeepSeek was costing to train, and then there was like a whole turmoil of moving heads when they didn't deliver. All right, folks, we're moving forward because we still have like a bunch of news, and I really want to show you some stuff for those who are watching. So super quickly, I'll cover the big companies and API stuff. Google released a Notebook LM video overviews. Unfortunately, those are not like VO3 videos with talking heads, but they are kind of like visual presentations. That's super cool, and it's really great for like learning. And speaking of this learning, OpenAI introduced a study mode in ChatGPT. Study mode is super cool, where you can ask it for study mode, and instead of telling you the answer, it will use the Socratic method to have you learn. Basically, it will ask you questions about what you know and like what your level of understanding is. I think study mode is like very, very important for students starting their new year in a month. And many students use ChatGPT, and that's essentially equal to cheating for most people. They just get the answer, they should put it in. I think study mode, we actually want AI to teach our students and not just like replace them and give them answers. So I think study mode is like very, very much great. I use study mode already on some of the stuff that I need to chat with you about. Moving forward, I think we covered both of these. The last thing that I want to like mention and jump forward is Microsoft Edge announcing Copilot mode. And Satya, they had like the earnings call. Ooh, that did not work. That also did not work. Lovely. That's what you get when you get an AI agent help you prepare for some of your notes. But the both things that I have don't work. But like Microsoft Edge announced like Copilot mode, where like AI will help you with the browser. For now, it will just summarize between some tabs, but the agentic stuff is coming as well. So very similar to like what we saw from Perplexity's Comet and the browser company's Arc, which I used both of them to do some stuff. One more thing that I wanted to mention is that I saw a comment where Amazon is blocking AI agents from their shopping website, but not the indexing agents. So Amazon now already decisively stands against, hey, ChatGPT agent, for example, or etc. I don't want them to use the shopping website, but we do want the indexing agents to know about the shopping results, right? So like the ChatGPT will still be able to tell you, hey, click this link, go to Amazon, but ChatGPT won't be able to go in there and buy it for you, which I thought is very interesting. Bring it here because I think that we are often covering these tools. We tell you that browsers will become more agentic. And then there's like kind of the online hosted agents that have browsers of their own, and there's browsers UIs that you run on your Mac. I think that this Amazon move shows that how important it is to have a browser on your computer, because Amazon will not block your browser because they don't know if the user or the agent runs it. Versus when ChatGPT kind of runs their agent on production, they have the user agent, which is a string that tells every website who controls the site. They have the user agent set for ChatGPT agent, so Amazon can like block those. So very interesting kind of like benefit for the the embedded browser experiences. I think that's all in big companies APIs. And now I want to move to vision and video and AR art and diffusion. If you folks are listening on the Twitter space, I think now is the time to switch to video, because I think the next thing is going to be fairly visual. First off, we have an updated state-of-the-art, I love saying this, state-of-the-art, we have state-of-the-art video model from Togi lab at Alibaba. So this is 1.2.2. And this is an open source MOE video generator model. It has 227 billion parameters with 14 billion active per step. So that's a completely different setup and ratio between kind of the LLMs that we know and love. They open source text to video, image to video, and a unified model, which is like a 5 billion parameter. They generate 5-second clips of 720p in under 9 minutes on a single computer GPU. So that's great. 9 minutes sounds like a lot, but like when you use these models online, they speed them up to oblivion. So you get like, I don't know, 22 seconds. They trained on a bunch. This is like, it feels like a 0.1 release, but it's really not. Go ahead, Well, I'll show some examples.
Excuse me, on a single 4090?
Yep.
And you get 720p videos?
Yes, after 9 minutes.
Can we see this? Because that's unprecedented on a whole new level for a video model.
I couldn't get it to, the only thing I could get running was Comfy UI. Are there, if anybody on the audience knows any better code bases or GitHubs to run the model with? Because I had some issue. It's a little bit complicated because you got to download like 4 different models in order to actually run it. But if anybody has a setup that's not Comfy UI, I'd love to know about it. So I struggle to run it on 23090s or 13090s.
To run locally, right?
Yeah, there are also quantized models usually, not immediately, but people are quantizing it as well as GGOFs, and then you can run it on your cards even better and faster.
So the thing that I heard about this model, and then I could not escape by just seeing this, somebody's comment was they generate pretty much every video of theirs in slow motion. And like you can kind of see this. Like the model is not like 720p, but it's not like realistic motion. This is maybe realistic, but like even this feels like slow motiony. And since I saw it, I cannot escape this. Like the movement here is very like AI movement. However, it's very similar. Like I'm not gonna say that like this is like VO3 level. Of course not. This model is like significantly smaller and open source, but it's open source and you can completely do some stuff with it. And the benefit of open source video models, folks, is fine tuning and doing kind of LoRa's and different things. Like people can continue training them and doing fine tuning, and you can try and see all these like very much uncensored results of video for open source models. So we definitely applaud the team for releasing this. I believe it's Apache 2 as well. And then, yeah, fairly great open source architectures here with data scaling.
It runs on your computer. Like you can run it at home. It's not just runs on your computer if you have a node like Nissan. It runs on your computer for real. Like single 4090. That's insane. We haven't seen this quality for video generation at home, especially not at this resolution and for this amount of seconds. Yeah, but bro, that's incredible.
That's incredible.
Seriously, the fact that you can just like you said, customize this and then run it at home, man.
And
that's new.
It supports image to video. Then you can extend your videos by taking the last frame and creating a new video with that as a starting frame. So you can go beyond the 5 seconds.
And we see some stats here, and we can see that they didn't compare it to VO3 here, but they compared to the Cdance and Julio and Kling, all of the other open source ones, and they added Sora for some unknown reason. I don't know of a single person to use Sora for videos anymore because they didn't release Sora 2, which was supposed to be awesome. But yeah, this aesthetics quality and dynamic degree, some text rendering as well. This small model beats like Cdance and Julio. Like it's very, very good. So shout out to Van and Alibaba.
Yeah, just wanted to say that's a jump. I mean, I wasn't ready for this to be this level at home. I mean, it's a huge jump from anything we had before. Anything we had that came close to this was just a huge, expensive model, which makes sense. But I mean, we never had anything even. I mean, that might be kind of the stable diffusion for video at home level, you can say.
Yeah.
Where from this point onward, people are gonna fine tune these things for the first time. No one really did this at scale on the internet, and it's amazing to see. Absolutely.
Speaking of bigger models that you cannot run at home, one of the leading labs in video is Runway, and Runway is about to release on the world, but like it's early access to Runway Aleph. Runway Aleph is not necessarily only an image to video model. This is a video editing model, very similar to Flux Context for images and to GPT for images, where you can like chat with the image. And the things that our folks are doing with this model are just absolutely incredible. I'm going to try and show you guys. Basically, you can take a look at this like motorcycle guy, and then you can ask the model to change the scene to have like fireworks explode behind the scenes. And you can absolutely see that you don't need to rotoscope. You don't need to do anything. You can change them to ride in the desert. You can change it right in. You can see here. They change it to ride in snow, and you can see the actual like physics of the snow like jumping off his tires of the bicycle. This is like quite crazy. Consistency quite crazy as well. Okay, the thing I wanted to show here is not like necessarily this. I wanted to show a friend of the pod, Blaine. Blaine, if you guys remember, came here and he did some stuff with some models. This is the scene from the very famous. I forgot this rapper name. Sorry, it doesn't matter.
Lil Yachty concert.
Lil Yachty, yeah, thank you. So you can see him doing like multiple flips and things. So he completely removed from one point. Another point, he has like a bunch of rain. And you can just like now it's like a bunch of snow. The dynamics, the physics of this is crazy. Now he removed the audience, and Yachty's just jumping on a long pier. No audience. Oh, and the audience shows up.
Yeah, the hands from the water. Yeah,
the hands from the water. He jumps on moon, and now like a different crowd altogether, and with fireworks. Blaine has absolutely like been all over, and the one I want to show another video that I think blew up. Yeah. Okay, so Blaine has a little bit over 500,000 views for this. So this is a scene from Neo and Morpheus from Matrix where he completely put them inside the pool.
Bro, this is incredible. I haven't seen this. Wow.
This is absolutely mind-blowing. And I got a lot of AI haters watch me repost this and say, hey, this looks like shit. And I think they have no idea what they're talking about because, yeah, the faces change a little bit, but come on. Like, this is the physics of this is crazy. The bubble physics is crazy. If you have shown me this when the Matrix came out, I would not have believed that like this is not like a professional like team or that it wasn't shot in water. It's absolutely unbelievable that like this level of thing is possible with all you do is chat with the video model. Like, hey, put them in water and this is what you get. Just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, look, not perfect, but I don't know, wait a week, wait 2 weeks, you know, like, okay, it might not be perfect, but it was not even close. I mean, that's incredible. Seriously.
Yep. LDJ, go ahead, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I think this has pretty massive implications just for VFX in general, for movies and lower budget TV shows. And apparently, there's actually like Bloomberg reported, I think just yesterday, that Disney and Netflix are apparently in a deal with Runway now to do, I guess, a series of TV shows or use it for VFX and things like that. And I also have a few links of just like 5-10 second things that I just put in StreamYard chat. If you want to check those out, I think those are really impressive demos.
Alrighty, I think we're moving off because we need to talk about image diffusion. But yeah, let's take a look at one of those examples. Oh, you guys are not watching. Hold on. All right, let's do this. This also has sound, but like the sound is not important. So basically, they input a video and then they show me a different angle. Changes the camera angles is absolutely ridiculous. The consistency. Okay, so what it takes to change an angle on the video for VFX is to actually give a shot of the other angle from these people. I've seen a bunch of examples of people taking like examples from like very famous movies and just like having a different angle from them. The model needs to understand the whole like scene and then change an angle. That's like absolutely crazy. Dramatic lighting, changing the lighting there dynamically. It's just yeah.
Yeah, you can also pair a whole other model on top of this to just like make it 4K and then send it off. Right?
Yeah. Upscaling is the thing with Topaz Labs. I think you upscale videos to 1080p. Video production quality is just like off the charts. All right, thank you, LDJ. This is Runway Aleph, and folks will get it very soon. We're moving on to the world of image diffusion for the last few minutes of the show because a lot has happened there. A lot. We don't usually cover image diffusion as much, and I'm very happy to say that we're very close to the end of the show, and we're able to cover pretty much everything because GPT didn't release. So shout out to these 3 labs. We're going to take a look at each one. FLUX from Black Forest Labs that released FLUX Context recently. They have collaborated with Krea.ai. Our friends Vic and Diego, who co-founded Krea, has been on the show, I believe, a couple times. And we actually mentioned Krea 1, which is their like model to generate image that doesn't look like the AI image. So basically, their whole sample is their whole story is the Krea folks trained the model to not look like an AI generated model. They're saying that with the evals, the way that they had, all of the image models continuously move towards like one place where like the people look very airbrushed and very specific, and they remember the DALL-E 2 outputs where like you could get weird outputs, you could get like super cool grainy things, etc. So Krea folks trained a whole model called Krea 1 for this, and then they released a couple of months ago, and now together with FLUX, with Black Forest Labs, they have released an open source model. They're called FLUX 1 Krea Dev, and it's on Hugging Face, so shout out to them. And this model comes very close to state of the art, but also not look like any other AI model, which is great. And you can see some of the new frontier in AI aesthetics, they call it, with realism and, let me show this, realism and kind of like distinctive aesthetics. Very specific, unique model, and now it's on open source. The benefit of having this model in open source and part of the Black Forest Labs setup is that this model is compatible with the whole range of the tools that we got to expect from Black Forest Labs, like LoRa's. This model is like the aesthetics that they have now is fitting your LoRa's. If you trained your face with a Black Forest Lab FLUX LoRa, this will now work. This will work with like all of the tooling. Yeah, so great work, great collaboration with these folks. They put a lot of information in the release as well, how they did this. Fully compatible with architecture for easy integration and customization. Like I said, open weights, commercial licenses, APIs available on file and replicate. So this already works everywhere. And developed as a flexible base to downstream fine tuning, which we love. We also always love. So shout out to these folks for this release. The second one that I wanted to mention is Ideogram. Folks, you remember Ideogram? This is yours truly from one reference thing. So basically, Ideogram launched characters, and one of the things that people love doing with these models is customize them on themselves. And this usually takes a few images. If you want to customize, for example, like a LoRa on your face, Ideogram released a customization with one image, one reference image, and it looks pretty cool. It's also free for everybody, so you can see this very distinct person with the flower on her face, with the flower stuff, and then you can see her in like a lot of different places. Just based on just one character, you get accurate consistency across the board. So pretty cool. Here's my examples if you're still watching the screen. It kind of looks like me, not really, and then this kind of looks like me, but like literally like me. So they literally just copied the same smile that I had. Not all examples are the best. The thing that to highlight there, if you do pay for Ideogram, you could upload a different picture, like let's say a meme, and lasso the faces that you want to replace with yours, and then they will put your face in there. And the benefit there is you could have done this with other tools. If you do it with FLUX will put your face on every other of the images. I think I shared some examples of mine where my face was like on every one of the images. Last one, Wolfram, I'll let you cover this one super quick. Hunyuan3D World model was released, and that was super cool. We just really have to show what's possible there. While Wolfram, you feel free to unmute and kind of cover this as well.
Yeah, can you bring it up?
Yeah, bring it up right now.
Okay, so I thought this Hunyuan has done other models before. So it's World Model 1.0. This is a new one. It's open source, and it generates fully explorable and interactive 3D worlds from a single sentence or image. So that is similar to what we have shown on the show before, where you take an image and then you can walk around in it. And this is pretty much now an open source version that you can run locally. It's 360 degrees immersive, explorable 3D scene generation, similar to what we have seen. And the generated assets are exportable as a 3D mesh file. This is completely new from the others, because now you can use it for a game engine or modeling software. That is amazing, an amazing way to create the stuff.
Wow.
It can be integrated in your pipelines, CG pipelines. Got a lot of downloads already, so it's getting popular. And the VRAM, it was reported to be at 33 gigabyte for complex scenes, which fits. I'm not sure if you can split it across multiple cards, but it's definitely possible to run this. And
that's really good. This is really
it
good.
Looks amazing.
No, I'm saying also the resources, man. it's incredible.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen anything like this yet before.
I wasn't
Yeah,
able to run
model-
this because like you need the Chinese phone number, but on the project page you have like one example. Let's test it out. There's one example here. I think it's this one where you can just like walk into the world. Now, all right, folks, compared to other examples from bigger labs, this walkable world is not as walkable. You can see kind of the limits, and then you scroll through, you can see kind of the stuff. But this is a full 3D mesh world. Like you can jump on these things, you can move around left and right, and you can see kind of like you can see the smudges of the world, but that's kind of fine. But this is all open source. You can generate models, you can generate games in this open source from just one image. It's absolutely incredible.
So this is already another step in the direction of the metaverse, where you can just create a whole world from an image and move around in it and explore it.
Yep. And this is like a full 3D scene that's explorable. So shout out to Tencent for this, and look, it's only the beginning. We were just getting started with these 3D worlds. Folks, at just 2 hours and 4 minutes, I think we've covered this insane week in AI all through and through. The thing that we expected to happen did not happen, obviously. So OpenAI did not release the open source models. Hopefully next week we'll see either GPT-5 or open source or together, although I doubt they will release this together. Speaking of next week, I'm going on vacation. January, August is going to be a month off for me, but next week Wolfram is going to take the reins again, and then folks hopefully will join and support. I will tune in from far away as a guest, maybe, but definitely won't have the setup to kind of lead that. I'm pretty sure that next week.
I got a cable to connect the mobile phone so we can have the X-Base and do the voice stuff.
Let's go. So
we're gonna have a party. We're gonna have a party. Alex is gone. Yeah.
I will tune in though. I will say I'm not planning to have a vacation on GPT-5 moment, but like when and if GPT-5 drops, obviously we'll cover this through and through. So until then, I really want to shout out, folks. We're having an incredible, I don't want to call this renaissance. So we've been on Thursday for 2.5 years, and it's been like incredible to see. But just comparing to whatever we started talking about in open source, just absolutely mind-blowing, week after week, almost day after day releases. And I'm really happy that we have the space for to kind of discuss this, to see the benefits, to see the state of the art, to test them out week after week and give you examples, to have crazy people like Nistan burning like millions of tokens, and to have folks like Wolfram and Yam and LDJ to evaluate them as well. I'm very, very happy to bring you Thursday from week after week. And so I think this week has been absolutely incredible in open source, and also image diffusion. Shout out to multiple folks, friends of ours, who are releasing models and just beating state of the art. With that said, Thursday after 2 hours, and many people don't have the full 2 hours to sit with us in live show. So for that, we have an edited version on thursdai.news. You can subscribe below here on thursdai.news of a podcast and a newsletter. We get down to the brass tacks, to the basics in the podcast, and we add every link that we talk about on the newsletter as well, so you can follow everything. Please, if you're already subscribed, share with your friends. If you're not, please give us a subscription. And the best way to support the show is to subscribe, tell your friends, and give us a 5-star review everywhere where you get your podcast. With that, I think we're going to wish you a great week going forward, and say thank you, everybody, for joining us from week after week. We'll see you next week, where Wolfram is going to be the host, and OpenAI will probably drop some stuff finally, and we'll talk about them then. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.